Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome out to Heritage Port here in Wheeling. I'm out for a bike ride today. It's pretty overcast, pretty chilly. It feels like because the humidity's so low, but nice breeze blowing. Wanted to stop for a rest here on my bike ride and maybe have a chat with you on more of a personal level, if you will. Many of you know who've been following my channel for a while, I come from a rather fractured family. um, we would be classified as dysfunctional if we could find enough psychiatrists or psychologists. It would take a team to figure out our family, our dynamic. I have an older brother. Well, I had one till he passed away. And an older sister down in Texas. And some half brothers down in Texas. And we grew up everywhere under every conditions imaginable. What that's led to, we've been everywhere. We've separated and been back together and separated and lived all over the place. So there's never been a closeness, if you will, no bonding per se. I think my wife and my sister have a closer relationship than I ever had with any of them. And it makes it rather interesting. I don't have any issues with anybody. I harbor no ill feelings towards anybody. The last person, of the fathers and mothers and grandparents and aunts and uncles, the last one of those, my real father died, I don't know, in the mid 90s, somewhere around there. And that was kind of like a weight lifted off the shoulders because he was the last one of all of them that knew what was going on and did nothing to stop anything. This was pre everything else. So, it would take an adult to stop some of the crap that was going on. And he didn't bother doing it. None of them bothered to do it. So, that's just the way that goes. And again, I, hold no ill feelings towards anybody because to me, that's just a waste of energy. So, I have the youngest of us, Tommy, is in the hospital down in Lagardo, Texas, down in that area. Him and my other younger brother, John, they lived a hard life, I'll tell you. It's it's been a hell of a life they've lived. And John had a few years ago a liver transplant. I mean, they're paying for that hard life. The drugs and the alcohol. It's caught up with them. I was very fortunate. I never got involved in any of that. So I escaped it somehow. They didn't. Water. Gotta have it. So, my brother Tommy, I think John's 2 years younger than me, and I think Tommy's a couple years younger. He's 60, 61, something like that, I believe. And a few weeks ago, I found out he was diagnosed with COPD. They've been lifelong smokers as well. I'm going to tell you, it made me think of Richard Pryor and his drug use back in the day, if any of you remember this. How Richard Pryor set himself on fire. With his oxygen and everything on, he was trying to light a joint. Got himself on fire. I kid. I don't mean to laugh, but I have no choice. It just it's it's sad that that happens, but I can't dwell on the negative. I'm not that kind of person. I don't dwell on negativity. Um, but yeah, I mean, they're that addicted to that lifestyle. It's not just an addiction to the drugs or an addiction to the alcohol, but you get addicted to that lifestyle. People don't talk about that, but that's the truth. And he's sitting there with his oxygen tubes up his nose and all this kind of stuff, and he's trying to light a joint. Caught himself on fire. That's what Richard Pryor was trying to smoke crack. Smoke crack, I believe, and caught himself on fire. A couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, they took him in to the hospital with congestive heart failure. They put a stent in. They sent him home, and something happened. I'm not down there, and I don't communicate that often um, with everybody. But they sent him down. They sent him back home, and something happened, and they had to call back. I mean, They life flighted him to a hospital. His heart stopped a couple of times on the way. They got him into a hospital and plugged him into all the machines. And he had very little brain activity. So they called everybody. Everybody, went to the hospital. I can't go. I cannot afford a trip to Texas to go down and. I mean, I would never get there in time anyway, but, for a funeral service or whatever, it's 1,300 miles one way. And at $4.50 a gallon for gas, and a vehicle that gets 15 miles per gallon, to the math, there's no way I can afford to go down there and be of any support to anybody. A call yesterday from my sister, and they called the family and to unplug him from the machines. I mean, basically, I had very little brain activity, and the machines were doing his breathing and all of that. So they decided the best thing to do, because there's not really any way of pulling him out of it, is to go ahead and unplug the machines, and let him be, basically. I know that has to be a hard decision. I mean, I can't equate it. I don't go do. I've never been around people who suffered and died. My brother had cancer in Cincinnati, and they put him in hospice. He didn't want any kind of treatment or anything, and I respect that. That's how I want to be. Just, okay, I got it. Nothing I can do about it. They put him in hospice, and he died a few days later, peacefully. That's all we could ask for. That's all I ask for. I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I don't want to be a burden to myself. If it's time, it's time. Just let me go. Um, with Tommy, they made that decision. He's still breathing uh, on his own, but that's it. Like I said, there's very little brain activity, and the body's doing what the body does. So, in talking with my sister, she said something that struck me. It's like, wow, I had never heard that before. And I think the people who have to make this decision, this is something to look at. If I can offer advice to anybody, perhaps, this was a long road to get here, I know, but you know me, I just talk, I ramble. But she said they unplugged him because, even plugged in, Tommy was gone. There was no more Tommy. The body was still there, and the body was still breathing, but there was no Tommy. Tommy had already passed. And I'm like, wow, that's so true. That no matter what happened with keeping him plugged in or whatever, there would never ever be Tommy again. So the best thing to do is turn off the equipment. Tommy had already passed. His body was still there. And that I thought about that all night. That was so, to me, because I'd never heard it. Maybe you have. Maybe other people have. Maybe there's something to it. But it's like that has to bring peace to people when they have to make that decision. And I hope if you watch this video, if people watch this video, and they ever have to make that decision, they can come to that conclusion. They can see that. And that may help. I don't know. I wish I could be down there with them. They watch my YouTube channel and they know, if I could be there, I would. I don't know what I could offer other than just, hey, there's 3 of us left out of the 5. There's 3 of us left. I wish them all well. I'm glad they came to the decision they came to because logic dictates it. My sister proved that. She said it in one sentence. It made all the sense in the world. And now I understand why, you make those decisions. I've never had to do that. I've never been around anybody that's, my real father went to the hospital and my brother handled everything. I never went. I never saw him. The idea behind this video was Tommy's already gone. He's already passed. So it's okay to unplug the body, if that makes sense. I hope you got something from this video. It's just from the heart. This is not complaining about anything. It's just, an opportunity to talk to people is what it is. Let me know what you think about it. If you've had experiences, let's talk about it. I'm out.